there we go. The official start now. It's a little after 11, and I'm happy I was able to coordinate this time because in Florida I'm just all upside down and backwards there with the time frame. I got a clock that says one thing, my computer says another, and my phone says a third thing. So I was lucky to get on here at the right time. All right, so I am out here in Florida. I've been at Perry Belcher's AI event. It was his second one and far better than the first. It was phenomenal. He had one guy up there for almost 2 hours going over the way that he does prompting, which was absolutely phenomenal. I mean, absolutely phenomenal. I'm going to probably do a 1 or 2 day event just based on what I learned from that session. It's incredible. And the scripts, like I've shown you guys how I do my prompting. My prompting's like, 3 or 4 paragraphs long. His prompt was, I believe it was 33,000 words. A 33,000 word prompt.
That's a book.
I'm like, that's an encyclopedia. It was incredible. It went through everything. And ChatGPT will not do that because it won't hold that much volume. So he was using a different AI program that is made for the long intent use like that. And the outcome of it was just unreal. I mean, we talk about the let's see, I had to click a button there. So, we talk about the analysis process and creating an avatar. He refers to it as a buyer profile. That's an avatar sheet. That's all it is. But he refers to it as a buyer profile. And he's hyper focused on all the triggers that make them a buyer. And when this stuff gets crafted into the copy, it's like, holy shit, this is like the best copywriting in the world. And this was a world-class copywriter that works for Perry. He's worked for Perry for over 10 years. And both he and Perry said doing the prompting this way, the copy that the AI is putting out is beating their controls from 2 of the best copywriters I've ever met. And the AI is beating them hands down, like by a long shot, when they do the prompting this way. It's absolutely unbelievable. I have got like 6 pages of notes here that is like really, really fine print that I'm honestly going to tell you I can't even read right now because I don't have my glasses here. So by the time I get back and digest this over the next week, we'll have a much more productive call next week about what I can tell you about what I learned here, because I'm just fried. I can't even read this stuff at this point, but it's there. My glasses will unveil it. But really, the process, it's uncanny how close to the ACT program it is. The stuff that they're going through and pulling out all the details and just little different nuances. But one of the things, this was really, to me, this was like a real aha moment, is when Perry was talking about, like the way, and I'm going to totally hatchet this until I have a chance to go through this. But it totally answered one of the questions about, like, when I sell SitePop is a SaaS software. And he was talking about the process of how they make sales and how they go from their tripwire, they go from their lead magnet to their tripwire up to the higher end product and then on up and up and up. And he described the spot where they're selling like a SaaS software. And he said, if you don't sell the training first, you'll have a lot of people fall out. And I'm like, holy shit, that I have a lot of people that fall out of SitePop. And he said, if you're if you're selling them on the idea of a shovel, because that's what the software is. The software is a shovel. It says if you're selling someone a shovel, you have to get them sold on the idea that they need a hole first. Otherwise, they're going to buy the shovel and they're just going to look at it and not know what to do with it. So he said, you got to sell the training. The training should show them why they need the hole. The training should indoctrinate them on the outcome of what your tool can provide. And when I say tool, this could be a training, this could be whatever it is that you're selling. It's the transformation. You're selling people ultimately on a transformation. It's not really the hole, it's the gold on the other end of the hole, right? If you're digging for gold, you've got to know that there's gold there. You've got to be confident that you know how to get it. And as you're building these things, you're basically creating demand and desire. We call it in the ACT program demand and desire. You're creating that. And then when they have the creation of the demand and desire, now they need the unique mechanism to deliver the result. That's the shovel. But there's a lot that goes into it about getting them to want the whole to begin with. So selling a front end item that trains them into getting what they want and then selling them the tools along the way is the right way to do it. That is the way to do it. And I know this intuitively because all along, as I've sold training programs, I've sold a lot of training programs. I've sold training programs for SEO. I've sold training programs for marketing. I've sold training programs for putting cartridge together. And usually, you know, I'm selling the training first and then offering them the tools later. Well, I did it absolutely ass backwards with SitePop. Every time I've sold SitePop, I have sold it the opposite way. I sell the tool first and then not offering any training, just training that comes with it. But I'm like, and I got an example for you guys that just absolutely blew my mind. Last week, right before I headed out here, I get an email from somebody that just recently purchased SitePop. This is an agency owner or a so-called agency owner, right? This is somebody that is supposedly running an agency selling products and services to businesses. I get this email and he says, I'd like to cancel my SitePop membership because I haven't sold anything. And I'm like, the hell does that mean? SitePop doesn't sell anything. It's an SEO tool. It's to boost your ranking. You sell it. You sell the service to people, to your customers, right? And I had gone through in the training, I did like 4 or 5 hours of training on how I would sell it to customers, how I do sell it to customers, and all this. And I get this email, and ultimately he's telling me that the customers didn't crawl through the computer and buy this from him when he didn't offer it. I asked him, how many people did you offer it to? Well, I haven't. Well, how the fuck are you supposed to sell it? He's telling me it doesn't work. It didn't get any sales. I'm like, I don't even know where to go with that. I'm like, have you sold anything? You're an agency owner. What do you sell? I'm like, holy shit. How far do I have to go? You know, do I cook the meal and eat it for you as well? Do you want me to shit it out for you and wipe my own ass? I mean, I'm on a serious rant here, but that one really blew my mind. And I apologize for that. I am not too far with that one, but you guys get what I'm saying here. The extent that you have to go to make sure that you've got the right prospect is really important. So what I realized was the last webinar that I did, it was posed to me that these were agency owners, and they're not. Because almost all of them, I've had almost 100% fallout. we made good money on the initial sale. But you know, anybody that's followed me, you know, I don't like just one-time sales. I like recurring. I like setting people up to use something that benefits them over a long period of time, so they stay with me long term, they get massive value, and it's a win-win for everybody. But here I just didn't recognize. I was told I was selling to agency owners, and I should have asked some more questions. So, like, how big are these agency owners? What's their annual income? And I know Linda brought that to my attention about annual income being important selling real estate. It's like, you don't want a bunch of people that have, you know, $20,000 annual income trying to buy $1 million house. That's not going to work. You're going to get the same kind of shit that I just got. You know, nothing sold. It didn't work. No one will give me a mortgage. I can't figure it out. They won't give me a loan for $1 million with a $20,000 annual income. I can't figure it out. What's the problem? So it just, sometimes I just get my mind blown. Anyway, does anybody have any questions? I got just a ton of stuff here that I could feed off of, but go ahead, Roger. Roger, I'm not hearing you. Still not hearing you.
Let's try this one. Is this one working?
There you go. Now I got you.
Not the greatest mic. It's my backup. Don't know what's going on. So, hey,
That's okay.
glad the conference went well. I have a pivoting question for you, and that is, I have an email list, and this is a list from probably 4 years ago, but all the emails were at that time fairly valid. Like there wasn't junk email in it. It was prior site signups.
Sure.
Of course, they're cold. They're 4 years old. I'd like to send an email about our new site to them. And I have an SMTP system set up on my WordPress site to use the hosting server, but I'd rather send from a bulk provider. And so my question is, what one is best? And what I've noticed too is that most of them offer a kind of a pre-screening of the email, a pre-validator, but only if you're signed up for like the $100 a month level or above kind of thing.
Okay.
How important is the pre-validator, A, and B, which of the many services out there, Mailgun or any of the others, do you recommend?
The only one that I've actually used myself is SendGrid. And I know SendGrid is working very well for me. The thing with the emails, like, how many emails are we talking about? How many's on the list?
2,700.
Okay. So that's not a huge list. The problem with it is not necessarily, if you knew those emails were good to begin with, you don't really need to screen them. Your problem is going to be how many are no longer valid.
Right.
And if you send like let's say there's 10% of them, and you got 2,800, that's going to be 280 bad emails. That's going to be 280 bounces in one day. That could wipe out your email reputation. But if you throttle it, if you're not in that big of a hurry to get them out, and let's say you did it over a month, you're only sending 100 a day out. You could do that and potentially not damage the domain reputation. So, but if you get like hundreds of bounces a day, and you're going to be cooked. Your goose is going to be cooked.
John, what about a service like Never Bounce? They have services out there like Never Bounce that'll check all that stuff and it'll clean the list for you.
Yeah, you could do that. You could run it through a list cleaner before you send it. Because that's really all you're in that scenario, all you're really worried about is the bounces, the bad emails, the ones where they changed their email and they abandoned it.
Right.
So if you just ran it through some kind of an email validation and cleaned it up that way, you probably be fine with something like SendGrid. You could go ahead and send them all at once.
Richard, have you used Never Bounce?
Yeah, I've used Never Bounce, but I found the lists where the way I was getting a list, like with the ones that I got from John, they were all already checked out and that sort of thing. So it's not very expensive, and it just checks it immediately and you're done. And Never Bounce itself isn't that expensive. I mean, I want to say it's, you know, $10 a month, $20 a month, something like that. And it's based on the number of emails you check. So it's not like something you have to renew every month. It's like you use up the credits you have and then you refill it. So you can throttle it pretty well there.
Got it. Thank you.
All right. Was that it, Roger?
Yeah, and also, have you ever used Amazon SES for sending email?
I have not, no. The new one that I got turned on to was Gmass. If any of you guys are using Gmail, there's a program called Gmass. And that's something that I got an outsourcer that he can hook that up to the AI leads program to have Gmail automatically send those messages out as they come in. So that's kind of a cool thing. It wasn't very expensive. It was, forget how much it was, but it wasn't a lot. It was like $20 a month or something.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Woody had his hand up, but it looks like, oh, there he is. I didn't know if Elvis had left the building. You're muted, Woody.
Yeah, I got jets that fly overhead, so I wanted to spare the group.
Well, thank you for that.
LAX runway 5. Anyway, I am getting ready to launch Gateway to Joy, and what I need is to do some advertising, and I would like to do one of those things that you see, someone come up and just run their pitch, like the guy that you love, with the beard and the greasy complexion. That is the big rage. But he tells you from the onset, "Hey, I'm going to sell you something."
Yeah.
His name escapes me, but anyway. I want to be able, what I want to ask you is, what buttons do I need to hit in like a 30-second spot? Or maybe 60 seconds is too long. I have it geared both ways for the gateway. One is the business owners, potential business owners that are really into the experience and doing everything that I did when I joined Craig 3 years ago to get in the business. And I'm saying one of the things you must do is this gateway, because without this experience, you don't know what you want in business. You don't know what you're made of in business. You don't know what luggage you're carrying around that's going to impact you being successful in becoming a millionaire. So I want to communicate that in a spot, but I want the things that you always talk about, which is, I know the unique mechanism is my adventure course. I know that. But what is the thing? What are the 3 things that I've got to hit in a 30-second spot that is critical to create a sale?
Well,
what would that look like to you? Yeah. How would you pitch it?
In a 30-second spot, what you just were talking about is way too much to unpack. So in a 30-second spot, your whole goal there is just to grab their attention and move them to action. You can't really sell something there. But what you got to do is you got to figure out what it is that they want and why they want it. The transformation is what's going to grab their attention. So that's your promise. And what, we're talking about a big idea here. So what you should be doing, everyone here should be focused on big ideas for your lead generation. This is your front end. This is your first time they encounter you. It's almost like an elevator speech. Like if you get in an elevator and somebody comes into the elevator, you've got 30 seconds before the door's going to open and they're going to leave.
Elevator pitch.
It's an elevator pitch in the form of a big idea where you're literally focusing on a promise. You're saying, here's what I've got. Frank Kern does it in this formula. Here's what I've got.
That's the guy I was talking about, Frank Kern.
Okay. So his formula is, here's what I've got. Here's what it's going to do for you. And here's what I want you to do next. And you can do that formula in 30 seconds very easily. The here's what I've got basically is the unique mechanism. This is the magic. This is the wand that's going to transport you to paradise. Right? The here's what it's going to do for you is just that. This wand that I have is going to take you to the end of the rainbow and get you what you've always wanted and never been able to have. Right? And here's what I want you to do next is you need to take them from that commercial and monetize them. You need to get them on your list. So click the button below to download the first step or my free thing or whatever it is that's going to take them on the road to getting what they want using that magic wand. Like it might be learn how it works. If the 30-second spot gives enough intrigue, they will want more. That's the whole key to a big idea, is leaving them wanting more. That's why you've gotten 3 pieces in the big idea. You've got the promise. The promise usually evokes a bullshit thought because nobody believes that it's that easy, right? Nobody believes you're going to be able to give them what they want. If they thought it was that easy, they would have already gotten it, right? That's why you have to have the unique mechanism. I talk about this, about seducing the heart and convincing the head. Well, you seduce the heart with the promise. That's the promise of what they want in the big idea. The convincing the head is telling them, hey, I've got this thing that will actually do this. That's the unique mechanism. So in a very short time frame there, like we're talking seconds, you can seduce the heart and convince the head to take the first step. You're not trying to sell them that right there. We're only trying to get them to take the first step. If they're not moving forward, they're not moving toward your sale, right? So the goal of that 30-second spot, that elevator speech, whatever you want to call it, your Facebook ad, your email, whatever it is, it's short, sweet, just to get them to take the first step. That first step should also get them into your world, get them onto your mailing list, allow you to follow up with them. So
is that first step a free step? Is that like it is for the free glossary list of the course?
Yeah, generally it's a free thing. The free thing is, in many cases, in fact, in almost every case, the free thing is some sort of a presentation. The presentation is the idea of getting them to believe that they need a hole, right? And then you're going to offer them a shovel. But you can't sell them a shovel if you haven't convinced them that they need a hole and why they need the hole and what the hole is going to do for them. So you can't do that in 30 seconds. It's way too much to unpack. You're not trying to sell them on the first shot. That's like when you go to a networking event. I say the purpose of a networking event is to generate a lead and then follow up with them. It's not to give them a presentation, right? You're not trying to do that there. That's out of sequence. So it's just generate a lead, generate a lead. Your ad, your 30-second spot, your elevator speech, all of that is just to generate a lead. If you try and do more than that, you're going to break. You're going to break the system. The system,
and you probably don't feel like they're getting trapped.
Yeah, they can.
You can't close.
they can feel very uneasy if you press for a sale on the first round. You
So
don't
let me
ever,
ask, what would you
you-
say? Give me your pitch.
what is it?
30
What is
seconds.
it? What is it that you're delivering? Give me the promise. What are we promising?
I promise you that by the time you're done with this experience, you will be clear about your strengths, your weaknesses, and where to go powerfully forward in your business.
That is just about as ambiguous as you could get. That means
Bigger,
nothing.
longer sex erections.
All right, now we're talking. You have to get specific. Seriously, what do you got to be able to tell them a tangible thing that they can hold their imagination to see it? Like you can't do pie in the sky promises. You'll never be able to get it to be believable because it's not defined. A promise has to be defined. And for you to define it, you have to go back to analysis and you have to build an avatar profile. You know, these guys in the conference, they're calling it a buyer profile, which I think is much more appropriate. I like that way better than an avatar profile. That's a buyer profile. Why would we focus on anything other than buyers, right? We don't want avatars, we want buyers. So what is that person going to buy? You know, they're going to buy something that's going to get them what they want or eliminate something they don't want. You've got to figure out clearly what that is. Like, are these people doing this for a business? Or, you know, who is your avatar here?
Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm segregating it into two groups. One are people starting their businesses, and artists, performance people that want to get involved in their business and create production, make money. And then the other are my cancer thrivers, people that have lost so much and need a gateway to, find out where they want to go from now on in life powerfully and utilizing all the I do 100 dreams and goals. When you do that kind of exploration, all kinds of gold pops up for you. So this is giving an artist, I don't want to be ambiguous, but a full range of tools to sell to develop themselves so they can create their own sales, and then I'll sell them the ACT program. Right? After you find out who you are, take them to ACT.
Yeah. So like Frank did this for people that had day jobs, and all they did was they daydreamed about what it would be like if they didn't have to have a boss. Right?
Wow.
He was very specific about it. I mean, how many people sit at a desk wondering what it would be like to be at the beach every day? You know, what would it be like to not have to answer to a boss? What would it be like to wake up whenever you want and do whatever you want with whoever you want to do it with and never have to worry about what anything costs? You know, what would it be like to have your dream life? And then he attaches that to the idea that you can fire your boss if you can figure out how to make money. And he happens to have the formula. So that was his unique mechanism, was called mass control. You know, in all honesty, all mass control was a course on how to send email. That's all mass control was. If you break it down to what it really was, it was a course on how to send email. That's all it was. And he sold that for $2,000. He sold 1,000 units and he sold it out in 20 minutes. Made $2 million in sales in 20 minutes because he figured out what they wanted, what they were dreaming about, and then he had the unique mechanism that was going to get them there. And he created like a 4-week series. He did 4 separate videos and he stepped them through. The first one just indoctrinated them. And then the second one started telling them what it was going to take. You know, he was basically convincing them that they needed a hole. There was gold on the other end of that hole. And then he sold them the shovel at the end. And it didn't even matter how much it cost. He was predicating that this shovel was going to be $10,000. And I got to tell you, he did such a good job. I went through the sequence and he did such a good job on that, that you were ready to pay the 10 grand for that shovel. I literally would have paid 10 grand when I went through his marketing sequence. And then right at the very end, you find out it's only 2 grand. And you know there's only 1,000 of them. That's how he sold it in 20 minutes. And it was absolutely crazy to watch that sequence go through. It was so powerful, and it was just email. You know, he was sending email showing you basically what he's doing. And then he did a video. He calls them indoctrination videos to do it. But you've really got to get in tune. Like if you've got people that are handicapped and maybe they've gone through something where they weren't handicapped before, they had a surgery, they had a disease, and now they're no longer the same. And they may believe that, you know, there's hopelessness there. So you got to figure out what it is what do they want? Maybe they think they can't make money. Maybe they think they can't get a job. Maybe those things are true. You know, maybe somebody won't hire them. That doesn't mean they can't make $1 million. But you got to figure out what you're giving them. What does it actually do? I mean, if you can't like make somebody a promise that you're going to make them $1 million unless you've got a defined program that's going to do that for them. So you've got to have that promise. You got to figure out what that promise is. And you might have 5 different promises because you might have 5 different segments that this all appeals to. So that's 5
Give me a
different.
sample.
What's that?
Give me an example of like a promise from what you know of this.
Okay, so I haven't really got a grip on what it is that you're doing for them, so it's hard for me to come up with a promise of what it's going to do.
Well, I mean, the course simply is, you know, your 100 goals and dreams, 30 regrets and sorrows, 30 things you're grateful for. You know, what is your big vision? Who do you owe an amend to? And what do you want on your tombstone? You know, what do you want your legacy to be? It's done in 7 segments. People do written assignments, actually, that we built in. It is so fucking comprehensive. And it's a transformational experience. I mean, my fans love my ass for what I brought to them. So, you know, now that was the personal course. Doing online is a different experience. Oh shit.
It sounds like it's mindset.
Okay, mindset.
It sounds like it's a mindset course because it doesn't sound like it's something like you're going to show somebody how to do something specifically, like you know, a job operation or something.
Right.
So it might be just like there's this thing a lot of people are talking about right now is the imposter syndrome. So they're selling mind
Oh, you
course.
talked about that. Yeah, you talked about that last week.
Yeah, they're selling mindset things to remove these imposters out of their way that are keeping them from getting what they want. But the thing is, to me, for me to do it really effectively, you got to know what they want specifically. Like just saying they're going to have a better life, that's really hard to justify. That's really hard to pin what that looks like so you can describe it. So like, are they going to be able to get more customers because of it? Are they going to be able to sell more houses because of it? Are they going to be able to get a mate because of it? I mean, you got to find the big promises of what it is they're missing. What do they want?
Hey,
But what
John.
does sick people on the edge of despair want? I mean, people that have just had everything removed, like me, my larynx. You know, what's next, brother? You know, what's going on?
So,
I don't
so
know.
yeah, that's the tough part. Do you have any competitors that you can look at and see what they're doing? That
What do
would
you?
be that would be what I would do first, is I would look at, okay, what is the market? Who are the competitors? Who's doing this? Or are you blazing a trail into unknown territory? I would think there's competitors. Like, I know there's competitors doing mindset. There's a lot of them doing mindset. But usually they're doing it specifically, like Matt Bronning, for instance. I think you know him. He had mindset for he cut it into 4 quadrants. He said, I have one mindset program that will help you with your relationships. It will help mend broken relationships. It will help create new great relationships. It was all relationship driven. So that was personal. You know, that was like fix your home. Get your kids, you know, back on track. Get your kids to even acknowledge you're there. You know, that kind of stuff. It was a very personal thing. He had another one that was related to your body. Like if you're out of weight, if you need fitness, it was a mindset thing with the outcome of you're going to get healthy. Right? He had another one that was business related. It was, you know, it was how to kick ass in your business, how to get rid of all the blocks that are getting in front of you with your finances. And I forget what the other one was. He had 4 very, very clean, clear, distinct outcomes. And you know what? It was the same program. He delivered it all. He had 4 different avatars in his seminars, and he basically delivered it all. But when he sold it to the specific one. He put them all in a room and delivered it all at once.
So
It really was
so he segregated his marketing.
for sales, but not for delivery. It's like the ACT program. I could segment that for realtors. I could say, hey, come in here and learn how to market to sell houses. It's the same program, right? It doesn't matter if you're selling houses or jelly beans. The process is the same. Just like with him, the mindset process was the same, but he knew he had 4 different avatars, so he approached them 4 different ways to get them in and get them signed up. So, and again, that goes back to analysis, segmenting your market, figuring out, you know, who's most important. Now with Matt, he knew that his most profitable of those avatars was the business. He knew that was where people were going to let go of the most money to get more money. Right? In a lot of cases, they wouldn't let go of a lot of money just to fix a broken relationship unless it was really painful. But he would pitch it to those people, and I don't know if he sold it at different price points. I imagine he might have. But that's where your segmentation in the very first part of ACT is going to be really important, that you identify, you know, who is the buyer? Who is the buyer? What's important to them? What do we have to give them to get them the outcome they're looking for. But you got to know what that outcome is.
How about a clear life with lots of possibilities available and being happy?
That's just about as ambiguous as your first round you threw at me. like how do you draw a picture of that? What does that look like? You know, you can say that kind of stuff when you're in the moment. When you're in the moment, you've already got them focused on the goal. That's the kind of stuff you can wrap it with, but you can't lead with that. That's not a crystal clear promise. Like if this was about losing weight, it's lose 20 pounds in 20 days. It's very specific. I can see that picture. I know what that looks like. I want that. Okay. Now I think it's bullshit. What do you got to do it? How are you going to pull that off? And then you tell me I got my super whiz get yada yada. And I'm like, oh, okay. Well, I can buy into that. You actually have something to do this. Right. So
would I describe the process that I put you through? That like, oh, at the end of this, you're gonna lose 20 pounds. I don't know.
See that's
Louder?
where you just have to get clear on the outcome. I told you this a long time ago. You can run a business that is a movement. A movement is like to inspire. It's like to motivate and all that kind of stuff, where there's not really a specific outcome. You're just trying to lead people and inspire them to do something, right? It's really hard to do that because you got to sell something. And for you to sell something, you have to attach it to an outcome. And that really doesn't happen all that much in a movement. A lot of times in a movement, you've got big people that are endorsing it. You got big people that are funding it. And it's almost like a nonprofit type of thing. And it's very expensive to create a movement. Like the advertising around creating a movement is incredibly high. It's like the guy that came to me that wanted to do the father to son greeting cards. And, I looked at the market and there was no market for it. At the time, there was no one that was searching for that. There was no audience. And I said, for you to create an audience and to create awareness is going to be very expensive. And he didn't have the money to do that. I said, you need to go to some company that has the money to actually create this awareness and create this desire. You need to go and sell this idea to Hallmark and just, make a royalty on it and see if they can get it to fly, because he couldn't afford to do that. And he was prepared to spend his life savings, his whole retirement. He was going to flush the whole wad down the tubes on that because he hadn't done the analysis. And I saved him. And he was incredibly grateful, and he moved on to do something else that actually worked. But you've got to do the analysis part of this. You've got to know there's a market, and you got to know that they're going to want to buy what you're going to offer them.
Well, I got people that are surviving from cancers, catastrophic physical injury.
I mean, that. So remember, profitable segment market, it's got 3 legs to it. So one of the legs is size of market. You got that covered. You got plenty of people that are suffering. The second leg that holds the table up is they have to want what you're selling them enough to pay for it. And the third leg is they have to have the money to pay for it. They have to have the desire and the ability to pay for that.
Well, we don't have $1.
If you're selling it for $1, then they probably all have the mark. You probably got that leg covered.
Well, and then 39 a month, 29 a month.
Yeah.
I mean, I got doctors, when I tell them about this, they get excited.
And what are you telling them that's exciting them?
What?
What is it that you're telling them that they're getting excited
I
about?
tell them, Doc, I've developed this thing. I'm a cancer thriver. And in the depths of my cancer realization, I was at my wit's end. I was wanted to end my life. So I created this thing out of a vision. And I've done it for the last 3 years with people. It lights them up, it opens up a pathway for them, it lets them know what their dreams are. People don't even look, and it gives them like a pathway to go with their lives, accepting who they are and pushing on and kicking ass. And they get
Okay,
hard on
so
for it.
okay, so I mean that sounds great. It's just not defined. Like, what does that mean? So look at it this way. Take some of the people that you've done this with and tell me what it was that they're now able to do after the transformation. What did they transform to? Did they
Oh,
get
I'll ask them.
that's what you need to get to the bottom of. What are they going to get out of it?
Hey, John,
And if
don't we
you've got a
also,
bunch of
oh, I'm sorry.
go ahead, Randy.
I'm listening to this and everything you've taught us so far, and it sounds like Woody, number one, has to name the thing that he created out of thin air. For example, I created the blueprint for success, which was the process that I went through to remake myself when I lost my job in the corporate world. And so what are the trials and tribulations that he went through that he could put his finger on and mark that out as a blueprint, so to speak, or roadmap, and then sell the thing? Now he can say, I have a roadmap to success, and these are the benefits, because he actually went through it. But right now, the soft, fluffy, feel good stuff is not tangible, and therefore you can't sell it. You got to have something tangible that you can connect
Yeah.
benefits to, that you can say, I created this thing, whether it's a book, a process, a roadmap, whatever. People want to know they're getting something in their hands. Like your ACT program is a product, and that product does X, Y, and Z for people if you go through the entire thing. Woody's talking all the fluff, but he's not concretely saying, I have this product and it provides this service and it gets you these benefits over a 12-month period or 6-month period. You will transform your life in these kinds of ways. And it's for people who have gone through cancer or whatever the other issues are. That's just my take on it.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think we lost Woody here. I think he fell off. Hopefully he's not having a breakdown over this.
But is
But
that kind of where you're going with this, isn't it?
yeah, like he's looking for an example, and like an example of this would be, I went from being flat on my back, unable to provide for my family, and now I'm back on my feet and I'm the head of the household, even though I don't have legs,
It's like,
or whatever.
yeah, it's like Suzanne Ali. We're getting her website, and her whole target audience, because she's sight impaired, basically she's blind, she's going to be working with the blind community to help people create independence and walk them through the process that she went through to become an independent, productive human being, even though she's blind. Now that's something that's tangible,
Yeah. Yeah.
and that's
So
invaluable to someone who's lost their sight.
yeah, and that's talking about a specific problem with a specific outcome is positive. So that's really what you need for someone. Someone has to see themselves in the shoes of the painting you're painting, the picture that you're painting. And then they have to see the outcome, and they have to see themselves as part of that outcome. So it's like, when the story is being told, you're telling it so they can be the hero. You're never the hero. you're giving them the tools to become the hero. Maybe you were the hero in the story, but the story is really about them becoming the hero. You know, you are there to guide them. You're not there to be the hero of the story, even though, you know, that was your path. You might be telling them, you know, how you got through the same circumstance, but they're seeing themselves in the picture. They're seeing themselves in the story of wanting to be that hero.
And I
And
just think that
in a lot of cases, you know, when you're talking about something traumatic, you know, like a cancer or something that's literally taken away a piece of your life that you feel, you know, very distraught over, that you feel like maybe you can't get back. And then all of a sudden now you see someone else that went through the same thing, and they navigated around that, and they have a way to do that. You're going to want to jump on board.
yeah,
But
absolutely.
it's got to be a, you know, a specific scenario.
And I think
Can't,
that's where his frustration is. I feel his frustration because, you know, I was there, and I'm sure everyone's been there, where you don't know what that thing is and you don't have a name for it, but you see people are migrating to it, but they're not going to buy that, pay for that, etc. It sounds great, but you got to get people to be excited enough to see themselves changing because of this thing that you're providing.
yeah. Yeah.
And he's frustrated, and I feel it. And I wish that we could somehow, you know, help him with that. But yeah.
Yeah.
So I have a quick question, and I'm gonna be quiet. Real quick,
Okay, good.
I sent you an email because of something that somebody brought up to my attention, and I had never heard of it, and I didn't know if it was something that's even feasible, possible, if you've ever done it. And you had sent me a note back saying that'd be a good question to talk about. So my
Yeah.
email to you, my basic question was, have you ever heard of this being done before as a teaser for live events? Someone said to me, you should offer, and I probably can't do it at this event. I might be able to, but anyhow, they said you should offer the first 45 minutes of the first 45 minutes or the hour free to your live event, and then stop their access unless they're interested in paying for the rest of the day, the rest of the 4 hours, whatever the event is. And since someone brought that up, I said, you know, the only person I know that might be able to help answer that question would be you. And
Yeah,
they
see
called it, you
that
know, a teaser, and I don't
that
even know if it's even possible.
no, that sounded like a really bad idea to me.
Okay.
Like to have somebody pay $1 to come to your event, and they get the first 45 minutes for the dollar, and then you're going to penalize them for staying.
Well,
That,
yeah,
that
I think they were thinking about, well, if they come for the first 45 minutes and they have a great time at the very beginning, they decide, hey, I want to go ahead, since they came in for free, I want to go ahead and stay. So they pay to opt in, I guess, or whatever, to stay for the day.
yeah, that's a bad idea.
Okay.
You know what I would do?
So everybody hear that loud.
So what I would do, I would reverse it. I would
Okay.
say pay the $99 or the $2.99 or whatever it is, pay the fee. And I guarantee you, if after the first hour you don't feel like you're in the right room, I'll just give you your money back.
Got it. Okay. Sounds good to me.
So that's a risk reversal. There's a purpose for that. You know, don't get them to a room for $1 and then they're going to have to pay a stay.
Got it. Makes sense to me.
You're going to have an empty room at the 45-minute mark. And you know what? As people are walking out, it's going to be like the gate just opened. There goes all the cattle. They're all going to follow because they won't feel bad. All it's going to take is one to get up and walk out, and they're all going to follow.
I better make sure this guy never tries that. I'll tell him.
Oh no, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't touch that with it. I've never seen anybody do that for once. That's probably a good indicator.
I didn't think so. It did sound right, but I thought, well, I'm going to ask you because that doesn't sound like a tease.
Yeah, no, I've seen a lot of like 3-day events where they say you come to the first day, you finish the first day. And at the end of the first day, you can come up after the event's over. And if you tell me that you just don't think it's for you or you didn't get your money's worth or whatever, I'll refund your whole money, and then you miss out on the second and the third day. But you're taking away from them. You spread your content out so you have some really solid stuff on each day. So, you want to make sure they get some really golden nuggets, but then you want to make sure there's more tomorrow, even better ones. And that way they'll never pull out.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So, and if they do pull out, your audience won't see it. They will not see the exodus.
Yeah.
So,
Okay. Got it.
I mean, in a lot of cases, you can gauge how good a seminar is, like a multi-day seminar, with how the audience stays with it. Like you've probably seen some seminars, like the third day, the audience is gone. There's a third of the audience left. It didn't hold them. So that's, you don't want them getting up and leaving on your cue. Yeah, I wanted to expand on that. That's why I said, let's talk about it on the call so everybody could hear it.
That's a powerful way to say it. You don't want them to expand on your cue.
Yeah. You don't want to queue up an exodus.
You're not Moses.
Yeah, that doesn't sound like a good idea to me at all.
Well, I like your idea, so there you go.
But I have seen, like what I said, I have seen a lot of guys do that. Come to me at the end of the first day and I'll give you your money back.
Yeah. Okay.
That one, that's a standard offer because it works. You're basically standing behind your word that you put on a good event and it's worth every penny. And you're willing to back it up.
So do you do that only for multi-day events, or can you do it for a one-day event?
You can do that. You can do that for a one-day event. You can tell them at lunch. You say, hey, if the first half of the day, because see, at lunch they're all exiting the room anyway. So it's not going to be obvious they're leaving because they got their money back.
That's true.
You tell them during lunch, you come see me and I'll give you your money back, and then you're going to miss out on the big reveal. Because same thing, just like a multi-day, you're splitting up the golden nuggets. Some of the best ones are after lunch. Right. If you want to get your money back before I reveal those, all right, let's do it.
Got it.
And you can really put it to them like, man, it's a real bummer. You're going to miss out on that. That's it's a takeaway. If they're going to leave, you want to give them some pain on the way out. You don't want the door to just smack them on the ass. You want some needles in that door. All right, Richard.
Okay, am I coming through okay?
Yep.
Hear me okay?
Loud and clear.
John, thank you for the email back. I appreciate that. The one question that I left in there that I didn't hear back from you on was, what do we have to be a member of this group to qualify for access to the $2 leads program, or what do we have to do to make sure that we're current to be able to take advantage of that? First off,
well, anybody that was in the beta program is going to be able to take advantage of it, so no worries there.
Okay, when are we going to get the complete rundown? In other words, you've been asking for feedback for the people that have actually were prepared for the leads, and I, like you, I had no idea how totally unprepared I was for the leads that you gave me. And I don't think 2.5 months later is the time to go back after those leads and see if they're any good. But
well,
what's going on?
I have enough feedback at this point. I know what I need to know about the leads. I know that they're quality leads. That was all. That was just my primary concern, that I don't want to roll out some big launch on something that if I don't really know and I'm convinced that it's real. So I've got that covered now. Enough people that knew how to do cold email have come in, tested them, and they're very happy with the leads. So basically, if somebody is buying the leads and they're not converting, it's not going to be because they're not good leads. That was my biggest concern, and I've got that covered. I'm very confident now in the quality of the leads.
When are we going to get all the nitty gritty and the
Got that
details?
box.
Do you have numbers in terms of, you know, comparison, these normal leads and these are our leads and these are that sort of stuff, or when is that coming, or we just need to continue sitting here and being tight? Because I don't feel like I can sit down and write ad copy or do market research unless I have more information about what it is potentially we're going to be selling.
Oh, you mean as far as selling the lead program to people,
Well, I mean,
or using it
I
for yourself?
got a widget here. I got a widget here. I want to sell it. I have no idea what it does. I don't know what the buttons do. I don't know what that does. I mean, you know, those are all questions that I'm going to need to have in my head to be able to talk about it intelligently.
Yeah, and I'm going to need that as well. That's one of the things I got to be working on here in the next few weeks, is putting an actual presentation together.
Yeah, okay.
So I'm going to spearhead that for sure. But my whole thing with the beta was just really getting the belief in my head of what this is and how good it really is. And I've got that. So I'm set with that. I got no problems. I'm going to take a lot of what I learned here over this last few days and incorporate that into getting the AI to write a lot of this stuff for me.
So when are you going to teach
fact-
us? When are you going to teach the people who fell outside of that range, that were so overwhelmed and so misunderstanding of how they can use those leads? When are you going to put it together, of course, to teach those lambs to bring them into compliance with the rest of you gurus?
Well, the thing with AI leads, it falls under the T part of ACT. It falls on traffic. And that is the last piece of the puzzle. So nobody really, I've said this over and over, it doesn't matter what traffic channel you're using. The traffic channel is just going to be very expensive if you don't know how to close the lead. If you don't have a sales presentation, if you haven't figured out who your audience is and how to communicate with them, you shouldn't be in the traffic bucket. You just really shouldn't. It's just going to be expensive for you. So having a funnel, if you have a funnel where you have you have a big idea on the front, you're able to communicate a process or promise rather, you've got a unique delivery mechanism, and you've got a presentation that basically shows them why they need the hole so they can buy the shovel to make the hole. When you've got that whole process in place, then you're ready for traffic. And by that time, you will know how to communicate the value. So you'll know how to grab the attention. And that's all you're trying to do with those leads. When those leads come through, it's almost like the reverse of a Facebook thing. You know, Facebook has your leads. So you're going to put a teaser in front of them. This is the same thing. The AI lead program has your leads. You're going to put a teaser in front of them. And the whole purpose of the teaser is just to identify their interest. When they identify by clicking. They've identified your interest or their interest in what you have. So you can either use a lead magnet or a tripwire. Perry loves tripwires. He loves a tripwire that pays for his leads. But if you don't have a tripwire yet, you can just use a lead magnet. The lead magnet could be as simple as a short 5-minute video to tell you how my thing is going to get you what you want. It doesn't have to be fancy. It doesn't have to be elaborate. It doesn't have to cost you a bunch of money. You could literally open up a Zoom window and make a 5-minute recording, just telling them how it works, how it's going to get them what they want, and then lead them to the next step. Depending on how much it's worth, or how much you're selling it for. If you're selling it for low dollar, you could potentially use that and then just cut right to the chase. And basically the question at the end of the video is, how would you like your life to be like this? If you're talking about the transformation, just how would you like your life to be like this? It's like a soft close. And I almost guarantee you they're not going to say, no, I wouldn't like my life to look like that. Because if they were going to say that, they wouldn't have got that far through the funnel. You would have separated them out by the big idea. The big idea is attached to the desired outcome. So if you get to the point where you've shown them how your thing is going to give them that desired outcome, and you ask them that question, you're not going to get a no. You're not going to get somebody to say, no, that doesn't sound like what I want. It's going to be exactly what they want. And then you can do an if-then statement. Well, if this is what you want your life to look like, then you should purchase this product. And by that statement, you're basically telling them again that this is going to do, and this is going to give them what they want. So, but your first piece, when you talk about those cold leads coming in, those are, even though they're highly identified prospects, they're still cold leads. You're still going to have to treat them as such. It's just like somebody on Facebook. It's a highly targeted audience, but it's still a cold lead to you. Any new prospect is going to be a cold lead to you. The only way you can make it not be a cold lead is if you get someone to endorse you. If you get on a webinar on someone else's webinar and they bring you on and they introduce you and they transfer their authority onto you, now it's not a cold lead. Now it's a warm introduction. Your chances go up exponentially with a warm introduction. But with this, you have control. It's hard to get that. It's hard to get someone to put you on their webinar and give you a warm introduction unless you really got something that is good and they want, and they're going to make a lot of money from it, because you're selling it to them just like you're going to sell it to their prospects. The only difference is you're selling them on the opportunity. You're not selling them the product. You're selling them the opportunity to make a bunch of money by putting you in front of their audience. It's still a sale. And it's a damn good one to get to know how to do that, because that's a very valuable skill set. That's one that I have worked on and mastered over the years, because that's my favorite traffic source, is getting a warm endorsement and talking to a group of people that I've already had the authority transferred to me. I didn't have to work for it. And then I bring them something, I show them how it works, indoctrinate them, and then make them an offer. But Perry broke the 4 pieces down of the things that you should be selling. And this is so you don't come off as a one-time thing. You have your tripwire is your first low dollar thing. And he said the whole purpose of that is just to identify an interest. And then after you've identified the interest, the next thing that you should sell them on, and I hate the idea of selling them on a book because I know they're not going to read it, but he says sell them on a book, a training, or a workshop. Basically, you're teaching them why they need the whole, right? This is like, you've got to teach them why they need the whole before you offer them a shovel. So that again it's a lower dollar thing. And then the next thing up is software, tools, done for you services. And as you're leading them through, you're making one sale to the next. So this is the category of where you're selling the picks and shovels. You've got software, you've got tools, you've got done for you services. That's the picks and shovel part. And then once you've got the ones there, they've bought the picks and shovels. And then what you're going to sell them is the high dollar stuff. That's where you're going to sell them the coaching or the mastermind group. And this is where basically you're selling them speed. This is what they're buying. They're buying speed and they're buying disaster avoidance. That's what they'll pay the big dollars for, is speed and disaster avoidance. It's like, you know, you can take a guy that's gonna climb Mount Everest, right? And he's invested in all the tools and the training, and he knows how to do it. He knows every inch of the mountain. He's studied it over and over and over. There's nothing he doesn't know yet, but he's still going to hire the Sherpa to take him up that mountain. And you know why he's going to hire the Sherpa? So he doesn't die. That's disaster avoidance. He's going to pay that Sherpa, even though he knows how to do it and he's got all the shit he needs. He's going to hire that Sherpa to make sure he doesn't die in the process. And that Sherpa is not cheap, right? So that's the 4 quadrants of taking somebody through a lifetime process. You know, the first thing is you're going to sell them something to just identify they qualify. Qualify, identify. You know, that's you got them. And then you're going to sell them, you know, training. You're going to show them how to do the thing. And then you're going to sell them the tools and the picks and the shovels that they're going to need to do the thing. You know, whatever that is. It could be dig a hole. It could be, you know, climb a mountain, whatever, speak from stage, you know, get yourself off your back and back in charge of your family after having cancer. It doesn't matter what it is. That's what you're going to sell them. You're going to sell them the tools to do that. Tools and services. And then the ones that want speed, the ones that want to avoid the alligators in the swamp. That's your high ticket stuff. And you know, and Perry's very focused on the high ticket stuff. That's why he will generate just a gazillion leads, because he's looking for the one high ticket guy he can get out of that. You know, it's like a churn mill. He's churn milling on the front end to find the real customer that he actually really wants.
So in your I don't know if you call it content or conversation, do you actually come across using the words or the phrases, this will get you from here to here this much faster if you do X? I mean, do you talk about speed?
Sure. Yeah, you can talk about that like your mastermind. You might say, you know, why you need this? What's this going to do for you? You know, I've done this. I can get you there in half the time. You know, you're going to struggle on your own. It's going to take you months and months to do trial and error, where I've already done that. I've already walked across all those alligators in the swamp. You know, I can show you where the stepping stones are so you don't miss a beat when you're going across that piranha filled river. You know, you just follow me. We'll step on the stones and we'll get to the other side and not get our ass chewed off in the process. It's speed and disaster avoidance. That's the 2 biggest things that they're going to pay a lot of money for.
Now, the disaster avoidance, that's not just throwing money down the toilet. That's also something else, right? So you have to describe what that disaster might be.
Yeah, you can tell them, like when I did that presentation at Glacier Kennedy, a good chunk of it, I was doing Frank Kern's what was it? His magic model. That was the formula I was following when I did the presentation at Glacier Kennedy.
I think we've paused and lost Sean.
Uh, please hold while we're having technical difficulties.
Been a rough
Okay,
Zoom day
let's
today.
appoint someone to take over. Who should we appoint to take over? Richard, you take over. It's on you now, buddy.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that grenade rolled in the door. You're going to slam the door behind me too.
Just don't do karaoke.
Yeah. Well, the only thing I was concerned about is that I like what John's saying, but I'm not. To me, that this last couple of minutes didn't really yet address, because urgency and alligators are not what the leads program is about. It's about short, it's about reducing costs and that sort of stuff. I didn't quite see.
I tend to disagree, Richard. Here's
Well,
why.
good, please, because I want to know
Okay.
why. I'm
Okay.
having real trouble.
Okay. Well, let me proceed. So
Gregory,
we'll
go.
just short. Okay. In the last 3 weeks, I have attended about maybe 10 mixers. I have another one tonight. We have a fourth one this week, and I talk about the AI generation stuff, and the people are interested. What they most concerned that I'm getting from these people is not so much. It's more of like, how does it work? And I tell them it's a bot. I just plain tell them it's a bot. It goes out. You'll look for all this stuff according to your business sector, your keywords and phrases, and your target zone that you're going after. And then the bot will start delivering you leads, and then you determine how many leads you're going to take going forward. Now, selling it forward, because I am a seminar junkie, and I attend all kinds of levels of stuff. The bottom line, though, on the lead stuff is, I sell it to them as, what is your business sector? Once we know your business sector, then we have to know what is your keywords, and then also develop a library. In the future, what I want to do is build a library. Think that, but right now, the hot issues that are going on here in LA County is construction, because the Olympics is coming in 2028, and we're just busting all over the place with construction projects. So the thing would be is that I'm talking to an insurance company. An insurance company is saying, okay, who is your ideal client? Which goes back to crowd targeting. Then the next thing is, what are the key words that your people are going to be looking for? And then, like I said, build a library. So the question would be is, how many leads can you think your marketing department can handle? 5, 10, 15, 20? You tell us, and then we send those leads forward. So that's the generation I'm telling them. Now, at this moment, I'm also telling them it's not ready yet. It's in beta testing, and we got some great results. And when it's ready to go public, would you like to be contacted? And they'll say yes. So at the back of their card, I write down AIQL, AI quality lead. So that means that when the time comes for us to release, then I'll be contacting them. So remember that conversation we had? Now it's ready to go forward. Go to the site and go forward to work with it. John's back. John, control.
Sorry about that. I don't know what the hell that was all about. The computer just
Richard
blacked
took
out.
over. He's in good. You're good. Yeah.
You got hotel connections. What do you expect?
Oh, this was actually the whole computer.
I wanted to follow up with Gregory, what you were just saying, Gregory, because one of the things, the way that John has initially presented this is that number one criteria, as John found out, and I found out immediately when he was so generous as to share the leads with it, is that you better not be talking to people who are not already being very successful at email marketing. They know their keywords, they know their market, they know their message, they know all of that shit. You're not going to educate them about squat. If you know more about their business than they do, then you're talking to the wrong people with these leads, at least the way that I currently understand the quality of the leads we're talking about.
Okay.
These people should know all that stuff. So the, getting over the alligators and the getting there faster and that sort of stuff that John was talking about before he was so rudely cut off from us. I don't understand how that applies in this particular case, because those aren't the things that we're selling with that. We're selling, quite frankly, I don't see anything other than, that $20 click that you're paying for, 5 clicks to get a lead. I can give you that $20 click for $10, and you aren't going to need 20 of them to get a lead out of it. You're going to need 4 or 5 of them. But I don't know what those numbers are, because I don't know what those ratios are. And that's where the confusion is, because we're also selling something that hasn't existed before. Even though people want leads, we are selling leads that come from a place they've never come from before. So that's part of the stuff that don't have enough, I don't feel I have enough information to be able to intelligently talk about it yet, because all the things you said, Gregory, sounded like somebody that wants 10 or 20 leads is not who this program's for. At
Oh,
least in my understanding.
again, I'm
Talked about it.
when I talk about the number of leads on, that's at the tail end of the beginning of the conversation, are about educating them about quality leads and would they be interested. If someone says I'm not interested, then I don't mark their card. So I'm only putting down people who are interested. So and again, I'm only building a small database to start when we go public. But as talking about the nuts and bolts of it, I just keep it in the general conversation because this is speed dating, and right now in networking here in LA County, it's speed dating. You got 3 to 5 minutes and move on because there's another 100 people in the room they want to talk to also.
Yeah, Richard, to what you were talking about right there, about that reminded me of why I like to work with the manufacturers. Because with the manufacturers, I was never worried about, like, could they close the traffic I would send them. They wanted the traffic. That's all they were interested in, was the traffic. They had systems to close it. I didn't have to spoon feed them. All I had to do is give them the traffic and let them do their thing. So
That's my thought.
if
That's
you-
how we've been talking about this. That's exactly my point. Is that so? How are you talking to somebody who's literally got their shit together? You better not come in there acting like you know more about their stuff than they do, which is not the most cases in all the things that other people are selling around here. You're coming in with more knowledge than your clientele. This is not that. This is the other way around.
Like when one of the first things I did, I got on Perry's stage here, first day, the first morning of the first day, when he had the highest attendance. I got up there and talked about the lead gen tool. And I said, we're in a beta. I said, if anybody wants to beta, and Perry just flat out crucified me over the naming of what it was. I mean, it was like, he might as well have just tied me and burnt me at the stakes. He said, what do you call it? I said, it's unlimited AI leads. And he just put his head down and he goes, have I not fucking taught you anything?
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, it's in beta, give me a break. I haven't named it yet. And basically what I did was I told everybody there, I said, if any of you would like to beta test it, I told them what it was, what it did, knowing who was in the room. These are not newbies. The people in his room are not newbies. These are people that are all doing millions of dollars worth of stuff, or maybe not all of them, but the majority of them. And they know how to close leads. They know how to build funnels. They know how to do email marketing. So when I told them about this traffic source and said, if any of you are interested in beta testing this, I gave my actual cell phone number. I said, text me. Just text me that you want access and I'll connect you. I'll set you up. So this was the highest percentage of opt-in I've ever gotten at any event. And it wasn't like sending them to a website. It wasn't fill out a form. It was just text me anything. It was sent to my real cell phone. So I looked at all of them. And basically what I did, I responded back to each one with the link that they could sign up. But if I would have told them, if I would have just given them the link to sign up and let them go and do that on their own, none of them would have done it. I would have got maybe a tenth of what I got. I had damn near everybody in that room, and now I've got their cell phone numbers.
But why do you think that happened, though? I mean, I think the secret is, why did that happen versus giving them the link across
it was the urgency. It was the ease and the urgency.
So you
If I would have sent them to a website to fill out a form right then, they weren't in that mode. but they all had their cell phones in their hand and they all text all day long. It was ease and urgency. It was like, send it to me right now and I'll let you in the beta test.
Got it.
It doesn't mean send it to me in a month. We're in a beta test here. If you want in on this initial round, I need to know now. So it was ease and urgency has got me that result.
So you could use that technique, that simple technique, in anything. Really?
Yeah. Like if I would have given them a one of those QR codes, they would have figured out how to scan it. It wouldn't have been easy. It was ease and urgency got me that result, nothing more. So, and then over the 3 days, I constantly had people coming up to me, telling me, they were almost like selling me on why I should let them in the beta program. And I had some guys going, yeah, I run a lead gen company. He said, you know, we go through 100,000 leads a week. And the amount of money he's spending was crazy. I mean, they're spending millions of dollars every week on leads and they're selling them. Now, these are lead gen companies. All I need is a couple of these guys. You know, if I can peel off 25 cents a lead and I'm selling them, you know, 1 million or more leads a month, that puts a shitload of fuel in my boat. You guys may never see me again.
John, the pricing is also something that you know how that works. Do we get a piece of, if we sell this to somebody else, do we, you know, we're getting, you know, I don't quite know where the money flows or how it flows, or is if
Yeah,
you know how many levels deep it goes or whatever. That's all part of the stuff that's not known yet.
Yeah, well, when you get your control panel, when we actually release the program, that's when I'll walk through and show you how it works. But ultimately, when you get the program, your lead cost will be $1.99. You set your lead pricing for when you sell it. You set your base pricing, which is the default for how much you want to sell your leads for. And then you can literally, like when you set up accounts for people, you can set the lead price at whatever you want for each account. Like you might find that, hey, the solar guys are willing to pay $12 a lead. So you say, I'm selling leads to the solar industry at $12 a piece. How many would you like? What zip codes? Maybe you set up a deal where you say, I'm going to sell this by zip code exclusively. I'm only taking one solar guy in each zip code. But if you want to commit to the zip code, you have to take all the leads from the zip code. I don't know how many that's going to be. It might be 5 a day, it might be 50 a day, but you got to take them all if you want it exclusively.
Is there a way of setting up volume discounts? In other words, you get this pricing at this volume and this pricing at this volume and that pricing, or is it just one across the board?
you are pricing of your customers, each one of
You
their
just went away,
campaigns.
John. You lost the whole audio there. When you started talking, the audio went away. Say that again, please.
Yeah, you're able to set the prices on each lead and each campaign. So each account and each campaign, you're free to set the pricing at whatever you want. So you could have guys, you know, you could have all kinds of different categories of how much you want to sell the leads for. You could have real estate leads at X price. You could have automotive leads at X price. You can make an absolute fortune selling leads. And the thing is, you are absolutely right. You do not want to sell leads to somebody that does not know how to close sales. Like when I started off in SEO, I didn't know shit about marketing. That was not my job. My job was to create a shitstorm of traffic. My job wasn't to close sales. My job wasn't to do lead prospecting. My job was to create a shitload of traffic from search. And I did that very well. But I was working with companies that knew how to, they had the system down. They had sales processes in place. When I sent that traffic to them, they knew what to do with it. And that's what you need to find. You need to find companies that are already selling products in groves, and they're looking how to expand it. How do we get a new traffic channel to something that's already working? Those are the guys that have money printing machines, and now you're just selling them ink.
The guys that are doing the lead gen companies, then you're selling them the leads, and then they'll resell the leads at whatever price they can get for their leads. So you're going to have to be selling them at wholesale to a lead gen company, correct?
Well, yeah, basically everybody that buys the leads from me is going to get them at $1.99. Whether it's, a person for their own website, or it's an agency or a lead gen company that's going to sell 1 million leads a month. They're all going to be getting the leads from me, and they'll be able to mark them up however they want.
The price broke up. You're going to be selling them to them for $1.99.
Yeah. Everybody will be buying them through my system at $1.99, and they can do whatever they want with them. I don't really plan on selling any of this to retail customers. I plan on getting a handful of lead gen companies and a handful of agencies, and that's all I really need out of this. A handful of agencies and lead gen companies will sell me well beyond 1 million leads a month. And the rest is just a cool tool for everyone else to play with.
And you're basically saying, hey, you need leads, we got leads, how many do you want? That's pretty much your sales process, because you got to be talking to people that are not only that are way high up on the solution aware and a hot lead. That's who you're looking for, and that's who you're selling to. Is, do you want leads? Yes. Okay, great. You want leads? No. Hello, do you want leads? No. Hello, do you want leads? No. I mean, that's basically what you're doing here. And you want to figure out a way to automate that process, but they know whether they want leads and whether they want them cheap, right?
Well, your question shouldn't be, do you want leads? Your question should be, how many leads a month are you buying? And how much are you paying for them? And how would you like to cut that by a third or a half, or how would you like to rip it 10 times? If they're paying $20 a lead, how would you like to buy them for $2? And you're not going to sell them for $2, you might sell them for $5. How would you like a 75% discount? You get somebody that's selling, 1,000 leads a day, and you can make $3 a piece on them, make $3,000 a day. That'd be a good deal for you.
Yeah, that works real well. The question is, are they going to be running the software, or are we running the software for them? In other words, do we give them access and they just do it and it runs, or do we have to middleman all of it?
You can do it either way. If you get the white label, you can get a white label version of it, and they can set up their own accounts. They can run their own, their own thing. You would just set the pricing for their account. You'd have default pricing for their account.
I had a bright idea, and I wanted to run this by you though. Say, okay, here's the program. Your leads are $5 a piece, and the access to the system is $5,000 a month, and for that you get 1,000 leads a month, and then anything you want more than 1,000 leads. But say they have a fixed monthly effect. A fixed monthly amount that buys them a fixed amount of leads, and they can purchase more than that, but they're going to get at least a minimum of that number of leads. Does that overcomplicate it, or does that sound like that makes sense?
That probably would overcomplicate if you're selling to lead gen companies and you're selling to people are going to be buying a shitload of leads. Now, I'm going to do that on the lower end. We'll call it, for lack of a better term, we'll call it the bottom feeders. The guys that are gonna, they want to buy it just because it's cool software, but they'll probably never use it. They'll probably honestly never use it. I'll have the lower level where they'll pay monthly access fee to access the platform, and then that's probably all they'll ever do. They'll just pay for access to the platform. They may never buy a lead off of it. And I don't care, because I've got my money covered that I wanted out of this by either the lead gen companies or the agencies, the big agencies that are going to sell the crap out of this stuff.
Okay. Are we? I just had a senior moment. I had a very important question I was going to ask. And now my brain went- Okay. The so you may actually have some lower end people that are just going to be in there for grins and giggles, but the
Yeah, like I'll open this up into Alignable. I'll say anybody in Alignable that wants to do AI lead gen, I'll sell them the tool. And then basically they're going to buy the tool and they're not going to be able to use it because they don't have a marketing funnel, and then I'll be able to sell them ACT. I'll say, you know, hey, the reason this isn't working is you don't have a marketing funnel in your business. I have a program to help you get that set up, help you show you exactly how to do that so you can make a home run marketing campaign that'll change your life forever. Because if hot leads like this don't increase your business, you got big problems, and ACT will solve them.
Are you encouraging us to wait until after the rollout, or can we go ahead and sell this in beta at this point if they know they're getting the beta thing and they're going to have to go through me, I'm guessing, to do that? Or when we set it up, does it just go to their Google spreadsheet like it does for us, and they don't, and that whole part's invisible for now until the real rollout?
Yeah, they would. You can literally set them up just with the Google Sheet. That would be their deliverable. They don't ever have to see the program if you're going to run a program for them. So I've got people right now in the beta test that are selling these leads.
Okay,
They're
so
already selling them.
okay, so we can sell them if we know that right now the only thing they're going to get, the only deliverable they're going to get right now is the Google Sheet, but the whole online platform is coming, and when it does, we'll switch it over so that they can have more control. But right now, because it's in beta, we have to do the controlling, correct?
Yeah, that's correct. Yep. But yeah, there's already a good number of people that are selling the leads already. They're selling them out. And we're getting good feedback that they're, you know, they're good leads.
Okay, well, the one of the things I was curious about on the pricing was that not that I do much of it, but you do a whole lot of it. If you're selling this at Perry's event, is Perry your affiliate, and he getting some kind of a commission off the leads that you're selling to the people that were in his event and that sort of stuff? Or is that going to be built into the next?
Here's the thing, I didn't sell anything at Perry's event. All I did was I did some very advanced networking from his stage. And I generated a lot of interest and prospects from his stage. I caused a lot of people to dial my number.
Okay, so the affiliate stuff hasn't been sorted out, or it doesn't even exist yet. So I get it. All right.
Well, I have the
That's
affiliate
great.
built in. I have the affiliate, I have the pricing, and I have the affiliate system built into it already. So that part is in Kartra. That's all done, ready to roll out. We just don't have the actual software like ready to distribute yet. The actual real version on my domain. It's going to be at on an Internet Dominators domain. So when we roll it out, we bought a different domain with a different ending, different extension.
Yeah, John. Well, you have literally created sliced bread here for us on the internet. This is going to be amazing.
That's really what I hoped for. I mean, this is like the coup de grace.
Well, there was I'm going to plug PPC Ad Labs here because I was looking. I thought they had a great program, but here again, not having mastered email yet, I don't quite get it. But they will give you all the information. You put in a keyword, and they will tell you all the people that are buying that keyword, what their ads look like, what their frequency is, where they're looking. And so you have I want real estate leads. They're all the people that are advertising. Then you just go down the list, and that's a whole list for us, and we have all their contact information. and it's $99 a month, guys. So there should be a great place if you want to go for people that are already spending the bucks on PPC, and you know what they're selling and how they're selling it and what they're online and that. So you can go on there and see if they know what the hell they're doing. And if they are, then they become a prospect, because you get to see all that stuff. And for $99 for us, that's going to be a great lead source for us. So anyway, anybody wants to see that, I'll give you a call.
But if you want to make a lot of money and have very few headaches and really get freedom, try not to solve every problem everyone has. Like if you think about when I started into this business and I was just a paid mercenary, I made the most money with the least amount of effort because I was selling nothing but to manufacturers. All they cared about was they got a few more customers a year. They're big customers and they knew how to sell them. So I didn't have to go in. I didn't have to do their email campaigns for them. I didn't have to build their web pages. I didn't have to create their marketing funnels. I didn't have to do anything except drive that traffic to them. I did exactly what they paid me for, and they weren't blaming everything on me. They were like, they had their systems. I was just enhancing their systems.
That's back to that $2 to $10 million range again you're talking about, because they're clearly know what the hell they're doing, and they're still small enough that you can talk to somebody who's a person and not get caught up in the bureaucracy.
Yeah, exactly. So, and they weren't, I didn't have to feed them. You know, like that guy just last week that said the program wasn't selling and he didn't offer it to anybody. I'm not dealing with that shit. You know, I'm dealing with a highly greased machine where I'm just one of the pieces of the machine, and the machine's just humming. You know, it's running like greased lightning, and I just jump in the middle and start peeling dollars off it as it's running. I'm not over there pedaling trying to keep it running. It's running on its own. All right, Rashid.
That's exactly it. Thank you, John. Thank you, John.
Rashid, you've had your hand up for a while there. He's got to unmute.
There we go. Yeah, I have a basic question. You guys have been talking over high stuff. I'm just back to the basics. You said there's three things to the big idea: the promise, the unique mechanism, which is the product that you're selling, and what's the third piece?
The third piece is the way that you're going to say it that makes it intellectually interesting. It's the curiosity factor.
What's the difference between the unique mechanism and that?
It's almost like a metaphor type thing. Like this diet pill is gonna lose weight like, you know, Genghis Khan does, yada yada yada. And they're like, what the hell did he just say?
Yeah, exactly. I still don't know. Okay.
It's basically just saying it in a way they've never heard it that creates curiosity. You know, like in finance, you might say, you know, there's rails being laid right now for the new financial system that's going to make people rich, just like the people that laid the railroads in the early 1900s that moved people from one coast to the other. This is going to move the money worldwide. Okay. And they're like, what the hell? How the hell does that work?
Okay,
you know, it draws them in and it makes them want to know more.
Okay. So maybe for me to better understand it, you know, the twist and shout thing that we worked on together, right? Mm-hmm. The promise there was make full-time income working part-time hours. That's the promise. Mm-hmm. The twist and shout magic formula is the unique mechanism.
So you want to make money, make extra income with low hours, as easy as Elvis. As easy as Elvis wiggles on stage with the twist and shout method. You know, they're gonna go, what?
So, I mean, one, the promise is working part-time, making full-time income. The program that I'm selling is a unique mechanism.
Yeah. So you give them the promise. You're going to do the promise as easy as Elvis wiggling on stage using my twist and shout method. You know, that's an example of how you would.
So the 2 and 3 are kind
In
of
some cases,
intertwined.
you don't even really need the third one. Like 4 out of 5 dentists recommend Crest. You know, that's a big idea, and there's not really any intellectually interesting thing about it. It's kind of boring, and it still works.
Right.
But there's a lot of examples. If you look at the big idea worksheet, there's a whole list of examples of big ideas that are classic examples from historic ads. And you can look at them, and every one of them I've detailed out where the promise was, what the unique mechanism was, and what the intellectually interesting angle was. It's just an angle. It's like you could have 10 different big ideas.
John, I don't know if this is related on a big idea or not to help you with this one, but me starting the website company, I told people I will have a working website up for you in 7 days or less, or your money back. And a working website, and then I defined, okay, what a working website means. That means someone can come to your site, they know who you are, they find out who you are, they get to know what you do, and they can find out how to get a hold of you. And I'll have that up for you in 7 days. That was my big idea. I don't know if that relates to you or not, giving you Rashid to help or not.
I don't know if that was helpful for him or not.
I don't know, because it's like and I know that's not perfect, but that's where I started from, and I'm tweaking it all the time. But like that was the number one thing that people came to me when they were asking me about website. Well, I need to get it up today, no problem. You know what I mean? I come up with a website up fast. You've got to come up with a way to start defining it, and over time you'll come up with. I still wish I could be as good as 4 out of 5 dentists. I am nowhere near that. That's a million miles from me right now. But I started with something. You know what I mean? And I think, Rashid, you need to start with something. It's not going to be perfect, and work your way towards it. I've seen tons of people, and how many years I've been doing with you, John, come through here, that they never get past that. Let me get started. They just sit there and twiddle their thumbs. I'm thinking about it. Get started.
Yeah, and Tim, for years, the website in 7 days is basically the deliverable.
Yeah.
What you got to do is you got to figure out what the promise is of the actual desired outcome. Because a website is just like SEO. Nobody really wants it. They want what it does. No. They want what it does. So if you need to figure out,
focus,
I'm going to get you.
Yeah. I want to build focus intent-based websites. So, Rashid, everything I think about on mine now is trying to get, how can I convey the message that I'm going to build a website for you that is going to do what you want it to do. Get you leads, get you phone calls, get you appointments, all right? Get people to download your freebie. That's my whole thing. And I'm trying to figure out how to say that. But my point, and the reason I chimed in, Rashid, is that I come up with something to start. And it's, John, he's honest with me. It's okay, but it really is not a big idea. But it got me started and got me out there to where I put 24 clients in 90 days. You know what I mean? Some people won't come up with that because they want 4 out of 5 dentists. Proof. I think I'm a million years from 4 out of 5 dentists, but I'm trying to get there. That's my point, John. I don't know if that helps.
Yeah, you're not that far. I mean, you could just call what they want a cash machine.
No.
How would you like a virtual ATM machine?
Mm-hmm.
And then your unique mechanism is our 7-day website.
Yeah.
We'll have it up for you, and our team will have it up in 7 days.
Mm-hmm. All right, I appreciate
that's
it.
what's
I didn't mean to
okay.
take from Rashid. I was trying to feed in to get him to get it started, John. That's all I was trying to do. Yeah.
Yeah, no
But
problem.
no, I've got the product and everything. It's just I was trying to understand the three parts of it. It's not getting started or not getting started or what it is. Is
A lot of people
I'm trying
struggle
to
with the promise. A lot of people, the unique mechanism is usually the easy piece of it, but a lot of people struggle with the promise. And if you're struggling with the promise, then you're either not using what you did in analysis, or you didn't do the analysis right. Because the
the promise
analysis is all about figuring out what they want and why they want it. And
Right.
when you figure out what they want and why they want it, the promise should become simple.
Yeah, the promise is easy and well defined for me. It's earning full-time income, working part-time hours. That's the promise. You using the system, you will be able to earn full-time income in part-time hours. That's a promise. This is how
Yeah.
you can do it. And what's the third part?
So the third part might just be as simple as, so you can fire your boss.
Okay. So
I think
that's
he might be
going back to
He might be
that's
looking for
going
do this next.
So
so
learn how to get full-time income with part-time work, so you can fire your boss using our yada yada program, our twist and shout method.
okay. So the third part is the end result that they're looking for.
Yeah, the third part is just like the intrigue. It's the intrigue piece of, wow, how do I do that?
So
Like, you could actually use the fire your boss as the promise.
right. Or yeah, you can look at it and fire your boss and doubling your income, which is the purpose of firing, you can
Yeah, because
fire
a
your
lot of
boss
times
when
if you have a good promise, they're going to call bullshit. You want them to call bullshit on your promise.
right.
Like, you'll be able to fire your boss because you're making full-time income part-time, and they're going to
Right.
say, yeah, right. But then you follow it up with the unique mechanism. That's the thing that actually delivers that result. And then now all of a sudden, you've seduced the heart and you've convinced the head at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
That's where the real magic comes in, is seducing the heart, convincing the head. And if you can say it in a unique way that evokes curiosity, that's the third piece. But if you can't, it's okay. If you get the other two right, sometimes that'll be good enough. Like the 4 out of 5 dentists recommend Crest. They're not really saying that in a unique way that evokes curiosity. They're just purely coming across with the facts, or however they're presenting those facts. They're presenting information. I don't know how factual it is.
The tagline that Papa John's uses was, what was that? Better ingredients, better pizza.
But yeah,
Like his tagline went all the way to the Supreme Court being challenged by Pizza Hut. Yeah. But that, literally, when I think of Papa John's pizza, I've always thought, well, you know what I mean? I always thought, well, it seems to taste better. I always thought that when I ate it. So it's like it followed through on that promise. But when the first time I heard that, I mean, I'd moved to where I'm at from another part of the country that didn't have Papa John's. And when I moved here, I'm like, whoa, that sounds better than Pizza Hut. I want to try that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, the big ideas have really been a difficult stumbling block for a lot of people. And the one thing about this copywriter that was at Perry's event, he was really good at prompting for big ideas. That was part of his 33,000 word prompt. It was queuing the thing up to create big ideas and headlines. And and all that stuff, just absolutely phenomenally. So that's one of the things. Once I get a chance to like go through all my notes and decipher all that stuff out, I think that's one of the things I'm going to actually teach a course on AI on the prompting like that. And I may actually, if I can find somebody that's interested in it, I may wind up connecting with a developer that will develop software that will basically do the entire ACT program for you. Like you give it a niche and it'll do all the research. It will create the, offers. It'll, do the whole thing for you, basically. Obviously, you would have to check it for validity and all that, but, it'll do a lot of the heavy lifting. So that's kind of my goal. So Russ.
Hey, John, how you doing, buddy?
No, not bad. How's it going?
Oh, good. Sorry I missed the Perry show. Sounded really good. Did
It
you
was pretty awesome.
did you you were talking about this guy with the 30 prompts for the AI. Did you come up with any thoughts on helping create the first cold email to go out?
Yeah, the way he is doing the prompting would definitely do that. I mean, he had one single prompt that was like everything. It was like the whole freaking business model. It was crazy. It would spit out the headlines, it would segment the audiences. It was all the stuff that we talk about in ACT. It was basically in there. I mean, he was a very, very advanced copywriter. And he does all the stuff naturally that I teach in ACT, like big ideas. He doesn't know the formula for it. He just does it. He does all of the stuff. I thought he was actually going to uncover my three-dimensionalizing of benefits, because he was talking about dimensional benefits. And I thought he was going to like throw that out, but it wasn't.
Oh.
I still haven't seen anybody do three-dimensional benefits like I do. But I could train, like I could create a prompt to create the three-dimensional benefits, which would be awesome. And that's what I'm looking at doing next is creating that stuff. But I think I'm going to do a whole course. That might be one of the things I do, like the little mini seminars at sea, and go take people over to Catalina a few at a time and have some fun.
So I think that was the big realization between a lot of people, that you get the keywords, you got to send that first cold email, and that first cold email really needs to hit home where you're just spinning your wheels. And that's where I'm stuck.
Yeah. And it's like any ad campaign. If you've ever run an ad campaign, it's the same thing. It's like, what do you say in those first few seconds to get somebody to take an action?
Mm-hmm.
That's, that could be a really difficult thing. That could be very, very hard.
So maybe this AI thing you're looking at or working with, that may help with this, you think?
It might. And also I'm starting to be in more contact with people that are really good at this. And some of them have been telling me that they're willing to do done-for-you services for people that need that.
Okay.
So that might be something like, we might create a marketplace around this for people that want to, help do the cold emails for you.
Yeah, because copywriting is a whole skill on itself, and a lot of people here may or may not be good at that. That would be helpful for me anyway.
Yeah. Well, this guy, I forget what his name was, but he is the perfect example of what I've been talking about with AI wiping out jobs, but creating new windows of opportunity. Is he's taking his skill set. He's got an incredible skill set of writing copy, and he is able to convert that skill set of how he wrote copy into how he writes prompts to create the copy. So it's awesome what he's come up with. Stuff. I mean, he was doing stuff in the prompts I just never would have thought of. Like, holy shit, that's just absolutely brilliant.
Hopefully you
And
took
the
good
out-
notes.
I did.
You did.
I did, and I have Laura Betterly on my side too, because she's going to get me some of the inside tracks, some of the recordings, and some of the the docs. Like, she's going to get me a copy of his prompt,
Oh,
the
awesome.
33,000 word prompt.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I'm sure you didn't write that down.
Yeah.
So she's working with Perry, and she said she'd probably have it to me by Monday.
So where? Yeah, I'll be out in a minute.
So that's pretty cool. But yeah, I could do, I could do a whole event just on that one thing. Just on how to prompt based on the ACT program. And if I can get a programmer to actually, this would be a simple program too, because it's just a chat bot. And ideally I could just have it where all you put in the chat bot was the niche. And then it just does all the work for you.
Hey,
It
John,
could
I
come
think-
back and it could say, okay, here's the segments. Which one do you want? You click the segment you want.
So Russ is on to something, because I know I'm stuck where he's stuck. It's that first email and how do you engage and all that. Because I mean, I'm a speaker and a coach. That's where my expertise lies. And it doesn't lie in copywriting and grabbing. I mean, I can grab attention on the stage or in person, having a conversation in a room. But when it comes to the written word and that, to me, that's just a whole lot of time where I shouldn't be spending time, but I need it.
Yeah.
And so how do we get it?
That's where you need the Sherpa. That's where you need the Sherpa to take you up the mountain so you don't get killed.
Exactly.
Oh, that's classic. Maybe that's what I should do. Maybe I should call this new program the Online Sherpa, the Marketing Sherpa.
Yeah, I mean, I don't
Have
mind
AI
packing backpacks and all that and following, but to actually go first or to figure out the route, I don't think so.
Oh, that's awesome. All right. Well, it's been a couple hours here, I think. I'm
Gotta
still
go.
on this
Yeah.
time zone thing.
It's
So
3:15.
yeah, if anything else before we wrap up, I know we covered a lot of ground. There's a lot more to cover. So,
Thank
See
you.
you
All
next
right,
week.
Thank you.
Thank you.
have a great week, and we will talk to you next week, and I'll be back in my own time zone. So more together.
All ashore, let's go in, sure. Goodbye, John.
Thank you, John.